So welcome to this video all about emotional releasing. So this was a technique that I learned quite a few years ago now. I was working with a coach, trying to really master my emotions and the control of my state. If you followed the likes of Tony Robbins, you'll be familiar with the term state. That's your sort of inner state, how you feel, how you're reacting, what matters to you, and the control or otherwise that you have over your emotions, because our emotions are a key part of our behavior essentially. So the thought process goes on our head, generates emotion then results in activity, which ultimately gives you your results. So it's kind of that idea of the tier philosophy. But how do we control our emotions and how do we manage our emotions? So the key point really of emotional releasing is understanding that there are effectively wants and desires that we have as human beings. We tend to want things, we tend to need approval, we want security, and we want control. And if you think about all the different human emotions that we go through, the gamut, the wide range of things that we think about that lead to different emotions, it's possible to boil all of those down to one of those three things. So just to recap then, so it's wanting approval. So that's a really common one. Many people experience the need of approval, whether it's family, friends, business associates, doesn't really matter. Approval is a massive thing for many people. And it partly stems from childhood, your parents' approval. And then when you go to school, it's the approval of your classmates, of your teachers. So it's a very environmentally driven element of the needs that we all suffer as human beings. And then if you think about control, we all really want control of outcome. We want control of the thing that we desire, the outcome that we're looking for. We want control. We want to know that we're going to get the result that we're looking for. So control is a natural other strong emotion, strong driver for what goes on. When we don't have control and we feel out of control, we feel uncomfortable, we feel stressed. So stress is a big result of the lack of, or the need of, or the want of control. And naturally security or safety or financial security, and often it manifests in the need for financial security. We all want to feel that we've got enough money in the bank, that money's going to keep coming. And ultimately, if you think about this as a medium for what we do, is having that liquidity event, selling a business and having enough money in the bank to go, I'm done, I never need to think about it again. So those three things are really critical. And if you can learn to manage those emotions, then you're in a really good place. So how do we do that? The first thing is to understand that we tend to have a need for, a want for. And if you've studied the law of attraction, if you studied theories around the universe and energy and flow and so on, then you'll probably understand that when we put out an intention, the idea is that, for example, manifestation. So if you manifest something, you write it down, you visualize it, you create for the universe the idea of something that you desire in the future, but then you kind of close the book and you forget about it, and in a year's time you'll be amazed how much of that stuff actually manifests, because we've put the intention out into the universe. And in a way it's the same exercise in principle that we want to do for emotional releasing. We want to set the intention, we're looking for a particular outcome to an idea, a plan, a proposal, a desire to buy a particular company. But once we've set that intention, we then need to release on that intention. We need to let that go. We're kind of almost like ushering it out into the universe, so that we're not attached to the outcome. Because often it's the attachment to the outcome that's the thing that holds us back. We are so desirous of getting a seller to say, yes, I'll sell to you. We are so desirous of the funder going, yeah, I'll give you the £1 million that you need to buy the company. We are so desirous of any particular component of that acquisition process that we kind of hold on to it because we want it to be the outcome. And why wouldn't we? That seems completely logical. The problem with that is that all those emotions end up sort of stuck inside us in a way, and they can lead to stress and tension and desire and so on. So the antidote for that is set the intention, write the proposal, make the presentation, say to the third party that you're talking to, this is what I would like to happen. But then mentally and emotionally, we then let that go. It's like letting go of a balloon full of helium. Just let it fly off into the atmosphere. It's the same thing with the emotion and the desire that goes behind it. So how do we do that? Well, emotional releasing is a technique. It's a physical and emotional technique that taps into where our human energy comes from. So if this seems a bit woo-woo, stick with me because it works. And that is, you'll have heard of the chakras. And the chakras start at the base of your spine and go all the way up, travel up until they come out the top of your head. And if you study chakras, I'm not an expert, but go and do some reading up on it because it's really, really interesting. A guy called David Hawkins created the Hawkins scale of energy. And if you know anything about atoms and molecular energy, we're all just balls of energy, and our atoms are whizzing around with their own frequency and their own energy systems. And what we're trying to do is to say, okay, David Hawkins talked about the scale above and below the line. If we can operate above the line, we're in a good place. In essential terms, if we operate below the line, where the energy that we're processing is negative, and go and check out the scale, we'll put a link below the video so you can go and understand more about it, then you're operating in negative energy, and it's not a good place to be. So emotional releasing is recognizing that those things are real, recognizing the benefit of being able to release on that energy and to move yourself at all times as much as you humanly can above the line. So if you spend your days operating above the line and not below the line, your energy is going to be better served for you, what you're trying to achieve. So how do we get there? Well, back to the 3 key wants that I described in the video earlier on, which is the want of control, the want of approval, the want of safety and security. So what I do is this. I think about a thought process that I've maybe gone through during the day. I think about, why am I feeling negative about any particular problem or challenge that I've got? But then I think about what am I feeling? Okay, so there's a conversation that takes place in my head, and it's is the need of control something that's greater than I might have thought about or feel comfortable with? So once I find the emotion, one of those 3 things that's really bugging me, I'm going to say to myself, could I let go of the need of control? Could I let go of wanting control? And if the answer is yes, and this is the first challenge in this process, because our ego holds on to that need, that want. Why? Because it's an auto protection mechanism, but actually it doesn't serve us. And when I started doing this, I found it really difficult to grumpily admit that, yeah, I should let go of wanting control. I should let go of the need of control. So there's a mental process, there's almost a kind of intellectual process that's going on, and you have to kind of go, yeah, it would serve me better to let go of the want of control. But the next bit of the conversation that goes on in your head, well, when would be a good time to let go of wanting control? Well, inevitably the answer to that is now. Why would you want to hold on to a negative emotion? Why would you want to hold on to that thing that's causing you pain and drama and stress, other than your ego trying to do that for you? So you've gone through is the want of control serving you? No, it's not. When would be a good time to let go of it? Now. And this is where the physical bit, this is where the metaverse, if you like, the universe starts to come into play. So all we do is simply go, right, where do I feel that? And you could feel it in the base of your tummy, you could feel it in your lower stomach, you could feel it in your chest, you could feel it in your throat, you could feel it in your head. There's any number of places where you might tap into the feeling, but I promise you, when you're in a quiet, calm place, you will be able to identify that feeling. And then all you're going to do is just really breathe deep, focus in on where you find that energy, and then all you're going to do is just let it out. So what I do is, in this example, I'm stood outside. I always do this outside 9 times out of 10. Occasionally I'll do it indoors, but I need a window if I'm indoors. I need to be able to fix my gaze on a spot in the distance, and the reason for that is I'm going to find the energy, and then I'm going to mentally, usually I do it with my eyes open, I'm going to stare at that point in the distance. And what I like to do, what I found worked for me, you'll find your own way, is find a tree in the distance, and I'm going to visualize and feel the negative energy that I've identified coming out of me and flying away over the said tree. That's my process. Okay, so I'm just going to close my eyes first of all, find where that energy is. And actually right now I can feel it's a want of control. So I've closed my eyes, I can feel it's in my tummy. I'm going to fix my distant stare. I can see where I want the energy to disappear over. Breathe deeply. And then the last bit of the process is, on a scale of 1 to 10, what's that number? How strong is that emotion? Now, sometimes it might be a 15, even though you set the scale 1 to 10, but that's okay. The stronger the better. So we breathe it in, we give that feeling a number, we stare into the distance, and we let it go. And we keep doing that, we keep bringing it up. It's a really physical, spiritual process. I promise you, this sounds a little bit woo-woo, but it really works. You can feel this happening, coming up and letting it go. We just keep doing it. And this is an emotional process. I warn you now, the first few times you do this, tears will come. The emotion is surprisingly strong when you tap into it. So don't be afraid, let it come, let it be okay. But don't let yourself be bothered if tears come as well, okay? So be aware of that as well. And remember, your ego is fighting against this all the time. The ego's going, no, hold on to that pain and anger and stress and all the rest of all that negativity, because the ego thinks it's protecting you, but it isn't. And my number then when I started was 8. Now it's a 2, but I'm going to keep going until it's gone. Okay, I'm empty. That need of control has gone. Now, I've got to stress that example is genuine, but I've been doing this a while, okay? So the speed at which I can find the thing that's bothering me, and the speed at which I can let it go, it's going to be quicker than you will the first few times that you do this. My emotion is easier because my ego just goes, oh, okay, he's doing that thing again, got to let him get on with it, all right? But for you, this will be an emotional process, tears may come, and you're going to have to work at it, okay? The first few times that you try this, probably struggle, might have to walk away, this is rubbish, doesn't work. But I promise you, if you stick with it and practice it and focus on one of those 3 things, the more you do it, the easier it gets. So if you had a tough day, this is the antidote to that tough day. Get out into the fresh air and just practice this and allow yourself to lose those negative emotions that are stressing you out. Hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, anything at all, you'd like to know more, you want to talk to me or just share your experiences, don't forget to send me a message because I'm keen to help you and get the best out of this process.